I believe that anybody can do what they want if they work really, really hard at it and they believe in themselves. And I believe anybody can do that, no matter, what kind of family or what kind of background they come from. I knew when I was 15 and I said I wanted to be an artist, then that day I started waking up in the morning and saying, this is what I am, this is what I have to do. And every day I've done it ever since I made up my mind. Because if that's what I'm going to be, then, I'm not going to dilly-dally. I'm going to go for it. And anybody can do that.
Hal is someone I've always admired because he makes things happen.
And the colors, again, the vibrant colors that he uses in his artwork makes the whole area just come alive in a very beautiful way.
Hal Marcus has become the Norman Rockwell of the culture of El Paso.
Hal emerged as an artist who had a very spiritual streak in him, and the projects that he's done here at Temple Mount Sinai reflect that.
This little thing I saw in him that was different, and that's what he does. I mean, basically, he designs things, and he puts them in together.
Hal Marcus has been greatly influenced by Picasso. He's one of his favorite artists.
I remember so well. That's a Hal I knew. There's always the one that has something a little different. That's the one you try to, really nurture and hope they go on. This is the type of art that started coming out at that time. And he was definitely a hippie. He was one of those, He went through the hippie thing, he went through the whole thing. And eventually he got himself into his own, his own way now. And the 60s was very different from any era that I ever taught. That was where there was an extreme freedom of expression. So Hal kind of adopted Chagall and did Chagall pictures for the longest time. In fact, he incorporated his style into Chagall's and Picasso. Eventually, from this background of Chagall and Picasso, he evolved the Hal Marcus way, which is his own way. And he has this energy, incredible energy. You could always see it, But it was mainly expressing himself, whether it was through his music, and it went beautifully through his music, and through his art, and through his, everything. And he's very, very enterprising.
Isela O'Malley was a great influence on me, and so was Lupe Casillas Lowenberg. They were both my teachers at Coronado High School, and they had a tremendous impact upon my life till this day.
I wanted Hal to go to art school. I wanted to get real good training. And I just put all this energy into him. But his father refused. He did not want him to be an artist. He said, no way, because his father, had a store of some sort.
Yes.
I definitely wanted to be a merchant.
Yeah.
I offered in the grocery store, and he wasn't a bit interested.
That's probably what made him become an artist, because, once you're opposed, you're going to work harder and harder. That did it, So from then on, he just went on.
A lot of children today don't want to follow their father's footsteps, and he took this art.
I came from a family who didn't have any art in their home, and very little music in their home, very little culture, besides for our Jewish, Arabic traditions that we kept in my house.
He got started by himself because I didn't support him financially or anything.
They thought it was ridiculous for me to try to be an artist. They didn't know of any artists that made any money, and art was something that they didn't know much about and that I could never make a living at.
Well, he used to buy things and have a garage sale in front of his house to make a living.
They were very concerned about me, and they thought that they connected art with being a hippie. And it's like,
weren't you a hippie?
Well, yes, I was a hippie, but you know, they said, how can you make a living being a hippie?
He's got his own mind and proved himself right and me wrong.
Now this is Hal when he was 2 years old, or 2.
Of course, he used to go to Juarez with his grandmother.
When he was
That's
little.
when little, and she loved him. It was her first grandson. He got a picture of that Mercado in Juarez with my mother. I think it took him 7 years to paint that first one that he had.
Yeah, that big one.
And everything came out to perfection. The cantaloupes, the oranges, the apples, tomatoes, what's in that picture.
I remember, yeah, I used to get real fruit, like a real watermelon, and be sure to get the right color, and the bananas and the apples and the pears and the corn.
And the lady behind the
And
counter.
the lady behind.
The influence of Mexico and Juarez on Hal Marcus's work is very evident. Before he was able to travel, he was too young or didn't have the means to travel, he studied these masters through books. Picasso, Matisse, and then as soon as he could, he must have been maybe 20, he made his first trip to Europe, and he's been traveling ever since. He's made 5 trips to France. One of his favorite places to visit is the Picasso Museum in Paris. We attended the opening of the Picasso portrait exhibit on opening day, traveled to England. He's been to Israel, Barcelona, China, Greece, Italy, Brazil. He's been to the Sahara. He had an incredible experience there where he was stranded out in the middle of the Sahara for a period of time, and that was a pivotal influence in his life and has expressed that in his artwork and in some of his writings. When he travels, he immerses himself in the culture.